History of Guatemala. Guatemala, a country in Central America, boasts a rich and complex history that spans thousands of years, from ancient civilizations to colonial rule and modern independence. Its story is shaped by indigenous cultures, European conquest, political upheaval, and a quest for identity and stability. Ancient civilizations. The Maya Empire. Guatemala's history begins with the rise of the Maya civilization, one of the most advanced pre-Columbian cultures in the Americas. The Maya flourished between 2000 BCE and 900s, establishing city-states such as Tikal, El Mirador, and Quirigua. These cities were centers of art, science, and architecture, known for their pyramids, hieroglyphic writing, and sophisticated calendar systems. The Maya excelled in mathematics, astronomy, and agriculture, cultivating maize, beans, and cacao. By the 10th century, many Maya cities were abandoned, likely due to environmental degradation, warfare, and political instability. However, Maya culture persisted in smaller communities, and their descendants continue to live in Guatemala today, preserving their languages and traditions. Spanish conquest and colonial rule. 1524–1821. In 1524, Spanish conquistador Pedro de Alvarado arrived in Guatemala, defeating the Quiche and other Maya groups. The Spanish established their capital at Santiago de los Caballeros, modern-day Antigua, Guatemala, and imposed colonial rule. Indigenous populations were subjected to forced labor, disease, and cultural suppression, while the Spanish introduced Catholicism, European crops, and new social hierarchies. Guatemala became part of the Captaincy General of Guatemala, an administrative division of the Spanish Empire that included much of Central America. The colony's economy relied on agriculture, particularly indigo and cochineal, and later cacao and sugar. The Catholic Church played a central role in colonial society, building churches and monasteries that still stand today. Independence and the Central American Federation. 1821–1840. In 1821, Guatemala, along with the rest of Central America, declared independence from Spain. Initially, it joined the Mexican Empire under Hist and Iturbide, but after its collapse in 1823, Guatemala became part of the Federal Republic of Central America, a short-lived union of Central American states. Internal conflicts and regional rivalries led to the federation's dissolution in 1840. Guatemala emerged as an independent republic, with Rafael Carrera, a conservative leader, becoming its first president. Carrera's rule marked the beginning of a long tradition of authoritarian leadership in Guatemala. The liberal reforms and the coffee boom. 1871–1944. In 1871, a liberal revolution led by Justo Rufino Barrios ushered in an era of modernization. Barrios promoted coffee production, built infrastructure, and secularized the state. However, these reforms often came at the expense of indigenous communities, whose lands were seized for coffee plantations. The early 20th century saw the rise of U.S. influence in Guatemala, particularly through the United Fruit Company, UFCO, which controlled much of the country's banana production. UFCO's dominance and its ties to the Guatemalan elite created economic inequality and social unrest. The Guatemalan Revolution and the CIA coup. 1944–1954. In 1944, a popular uprising overthrew dictator Jorge Ubico, leading to a decade of democratic reforms known as the Guatemalan Revolution. Presidents Juan José Atilde Copyright R. Atilde Copyright Valo and Jacobo Atilde Urbanes implemented social programs, land reforms, and labor rights, aiming to reduce inequality. Atilde Urbanes' land redistribution policies, however, threatened the interests of UFCO and the U.S. government. In 1954, the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, orchestrated a coup that ousted Atilde Urbanes, installing a military regime. This marked the beginning of decades of authoritarian rule and civil conflict. The Guatemalan Civil War. 1960–1996. The Cold War era in Guatemala was marked by a brutal civil war between the government and leftist guerrilla groups. The conflict, fueled by poverty, inequality, and Cold War geopolitics, saw widespread human rights abuses, including massacres, forced disappearances, and genocide against indigenous Maya communities. Over 200,000 people were killed, and millions were displaced. The war ended in 1996 with the signing of peace accords, which included provisions for demilitarization, indigenous rights, and social reforms. However, many of these promises remain unfulfilled. Modern Guatemala, 1996–present. Since the end of the Civil War, Guatemala has struggled with political instability, corruption, and social inequality. The country has made progress in some areas, such as recognizing indigenous rights and holding democratic elections, but challenges remain. High levels of poverty, crime, and violence, as well as the legacy of colonialism and war, continue to shape Guatemalan society. In recent years, grassroots movements and anti-corruption efforts have gained momentum, reflecting a growing demand for justice and accountability. Guatemala's rich cultural heritage, including its Maya roots and colonial architecture, remains a source of national pride and a draw for tourism. Guatemala's history is a testament to resilience and the enduring spirit of its people. From the heights of the Maya civilization to the struggles of the modern era, Guatemala continues to navigate its path toward a more just and equitable future.